It's crunch time here in the studios of Austin Peay. Guys, I'm so glad to be back. First and foremost, Reece Britt, Kristian Hunt, and Dillon Walton here joining me today. Guys, welcome back.
Welcome back, baby.
Yes, Season 8. This is going to be, in my opinion, our best season yet. I think we'll have the majority of us here pretty consistently on a consistent basis. I know that I was gone a lot for golf in the fall semester. I'll be doing that a little bit, but you guys handle the reins. You guys know the drill. But
yeah.
Let's go ahead and get into it. We had some snow here in Clarksville and really across the southeast, but Tennessee got hit extremely hard with the winter weather.
Boy, and listen, the crazy thing is that, so I live in Nashville, right?
Yeah.
Usually it's like, hey, Clarksville gets hit pretty hard. Nashville gets a little bit, but not bad. Dude, Nashville got wrecked.
Hammered.
We got, I measured it. It was 7 inches of snow.
Crazy.
Dude, I measured it because I was like, it can't be that bad. And then I got the whole, like, the tape measure, and I was like, oh, snap, that's 7 inches. And I was like, this is crazy. I literally did not leave my house for a week.
Same.
I mean, and honestly, if you do live in Nashville, and I know, my family back home, they were texting me, I'm a resident of Knoxville, like, they got hammered as well. They didn't get as much as Nashville, but, like, they got probably 5.5, 6 inches. Like, Tennessee was out for basically, like, the entire last week and this past Monday.
Yep.
So their first day of school was literally yesterday.
Yep.
And we were out for one day, which I think we got probably 3 inches of snow, 3.5 maybe.
We had a lot of ice though.
Yeah, we did.
We had a lot of ice.
Yeah, we got hit with the with the negative temperatures, which that's not ideal. No. But everyone's break. I want to touch on that before we get into APSU football, but go for it.
I mean, dude, it was great. I tried skiing over the break.
Oh, gosh.
I'm terrible at it.
Oh, gosh.
I'm not going to surprise anybody. I'm terrible at it. But we took a trip, me and some really good friends of mine, to Boone, North Carolina.
Yeah.
Oh,
and
okay.
I saw old Bucky Williams up there. Shout out to Bucky.
Hey.
And he's done with football now, or at least he's done with App State. He's gonna try to go in the NFL and see what happens. But no, I had a great time. I had a great break, man. Got to recharge the batteries.
Yeah.
And so I was at the point, like, when we got snowed out, I was like, man, I really want to get back. It's like, I want to do this. I want to, like, see everybody again.
Yeah.
So I'm good. The batteries are charged. I'm good.
Awesome. What about you, Dill?
It was refreshing. Y'all know. It was weird. Me and Kristian was just talking about, I had a weird semester last year, getting ready to graduate this semester. So figuring everything out, last semester was difficult. Got hit with an uppercut at the end. But, 10 count. I got a 10 count, and I didn't stay down all 10. So a lot of reflecting, like, get back to normal. I am fully recharged. I'm ready to push everything. I got blood, sweat, and tears. I'm ready to get to work. I'm ready to show some of myself. Hopefully, come next August.
Absolutely. Well, you look as good as when we last seen you. So my break was good. I just I worked. I played a lot of golf, practiced, got in the gym. Just made sure that I kept going from last semester, golf wise. But yeah, it was good. Got to go home and see the family. I love the Knoxville area, as you guys know, and so I
Rocky Top,
baby. I'll sing it. You just
It's a beautiful city.
It is. And talk about a beautiful city. Boone is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh my gosh,
it is absolutely gorgeous.
I ain't never been.
It's up in the mountains. I'm talking
mountains everywhere.
There's snow. Everywhere. I mean, there's nature everywhere. It's so beautiful. I've been twice now, and it's like, I'm like,
awesome.
God, if the drive didn't stink to get up here, I would love to live here. But the drive stinks. The drive is not fun.
How far?
It's about 6 hours.
Yeah. Yeah,
about 6 hours.
It's a deep drive from Knoxville, just having to go over the mountains and through the windy roads and whatnot.
It's super, especially once you get to North Carolina, it's super windy roads, so that part stinks.
Absolutely. Well, I'm glad to hear you guys are doing well, but let's go ahead and get into the meat and potatoes of today's show, Austin Peay football. We'll start out with that. We'll be touching more basketball of late just because that's the season we're in, but we could not pass this opportunity up. We want to welcome Jeff Ferris, the new head coach of the Austin Peay Governors football team. He comes to us by way of UCLA. He was the tight ends coach at UCLA. They didn't have a great year this year, but they were okay.
It was okay.
In a dwindling Pac-12 conference, but he was the co-offense coordinator at Duke and the quarterbacks coach. Coached, Daniel Jones, that's a guy that starts in the NFL, may not have a contract.
I was just going to say that.
But did a phenomenal job there. But he served under David Cutcliffe at Duke. That's one of the best college coaches of all time.
That's a name.
That's what I'm saying. That's a name. So what are y'all's thoughts about this guy? I love him personally. He's a young guy, energetic. He knows what he's talking about, obviously, just based off his track record. So what do we think? What's our first impression?
It's almost weird. It feels like we kind of had this same scenario. It's kind of weird that I think it's a blueprint, and I think it is a good hire. I think especially in our situation where the reality is that if he's good, he's not going to be here long.
Right.
So you got to get him young, because you got to be able to relate to the players to recruit. You got to be able to relate to the players to keep them from entering the portal. And so I think it's the right move. It's just a question of what are the expectations, because he got gutted in the portal.
Yeah.
So
which says more than just players leaving. They left to go to some pretty high-level programs. A lot of people left to go to UTEP with Coach Walton. Mm-hmm. Congrats to him and his family on getting the job over there. West Texas is a beautiful place. It's hot, but it's a beautiful place. But a lot of people went there, and then a lot of people, went to the Power 5 ranks. I know Trey Shack, he went to Washington State. Mm-hmm. They're going to be in, the Pac-2 next year with, a combined conference with the Mountain West. But it's good to see that Austin Peay can get those high-level, players, down here. Maybe some guys that are overlooked at the high school level, but they can still play.
Yep. And that's what Scotty got here.
That's what I'm saying. I'm excited. I take classes with a couple of these guys. These new guys. These guys look talented. Bill, they got broad shoulders. And they look like linebackers. I ain't asked position yet. First week of class. I ain't talking to people yet. It's the first week of class. But they look talented, though. You got
first week is hey, everyone's in their own corner and not talking to anybody. But, hey, speaking of linebackers, Sam Howard, as far as I know, he's going to stay.
Oh, he's staying?
I saw him the other day.
That's huge.
No, that's good.
I saw him, when the whole thing broke. Not when Coach Ferris was hired, but when, Coach Walton departed and whatnot. And I just asked him straight up. I was like, "Hey, are you gonna stay?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna stay." And I was like, "That's huge."
That's clutch.
He's that type of guy though. That he's that type of guy to where he bought into more than just a coaching staff. Mm-hmm. He bought into Austin Peay.
Culture.
Exactly. He bought into a culture. He loves it here from what I've heard from him and from the people around him, and he's a player that is going to honestly help Coach Ferris in the fact
no doubt.
How do we do things around here? I'm as Coach Ferris, I'm going to implement some things, but how do I keep this success moving forward? And he was a huge part of the success that we had last year as a football program.
Yep.
So, but the question before we move on is, I want to know, is the blueprint for Gerald to hire young position coaches from maybe a higher level and give them an opportunity to coach and be the head guy at a Division I program, but at the mid-major level?
I think so. In this case, I think we got what they call them, needle in a haystack, good mind or something like that. I think we got something pretty good. Tight ends coach, quarterback coach, co-offensive coordinator, receivers coach. We got a guy that knows every position to its T. And when you calling plays, that means something. That okay, he ain't got touches in about 2 positions. Let me get him 2 quick catches right here. Let me get the running back a quick stretch or a quick dive or something. Let him feel the ball. Okay, the quarterback, he hungry. Let him take a rocket up to the moon. Let him do something. So as a coach, knowing that means something. And every player that he has coached break records.
Yeah.
So what that mean? If you break a record at home, you're gonna break it at your cousin's house. You're gonna break it at your sister's house. I'm excited for him. Twitter look good. He look good on Twitter in the weight room. Mm-hmm. I'm legit for bro. I'm riding with Coach.
I think it's, and we mentioned it earlier, but because these are the guys you can get
exactly.
Because an older guy who's gonna say, I'll be the OC at a Power 5 or even a G5, and I'm comfortable. I don't have to deal with the stress of being a head coach. He wants it. He's young. He's got a young family. So to him, it's not, it's going to be stressful, but it's not going to be, overtaxing on him. Yeah. So these are the guys that are going to want a challenge like this. And so I think this is the move going forward, because I think the older guys, they're going to take the coordinator jobs at a bigger school, or they may even get head coaching opportunities elsewhere.
Yeah.
I think this is the move, is just to find yourself a young guy. Listen, he's got ties because, Gerald is close with Cutcliffe. He worked with him, at Duke. So he's got ties with him. He knows exactly what he's about. So I think it's a smart hire. Again, I think that's just going to be the routine we're going to find ourselves in every probably
right move,
4 or 5 years. Yeah.
After Coach Scotty, you need somebody with a little bit more flair. Keep it going. Keep the energy moving. This is the right move.
one of the sneakiest good hires that Jeff Ferris has made, and it was one of his first position coaches that he hired and brought onto the staff was George Quarles. Mm-hmm. He was the ETSU head football coach. They didn't have a good year whatsoever this past year. He actually came to Austin Peay. We ended up getting him pretty good. I think it was like 63-3, but the reason I say that is George Quarles has so many connections inside the borders of the state of Tennessee. He was in the Knoxville area, the Maryville area, so he knows that side of the state. And Austin Peay hasn't recruited that side of the state very well in the past. So, and there's so much good talent in that side of the state. There's a lot of good talent in Memphis. We recruit the middle of the state very well, but this George Quarles guy, I think he's our tight ends coach, on paper. But he is going to open up so many doors in the recruiting side of things that I don't think the past regime had inside the state. They got a lot of good guys out of state, but in the state of Tennessee, there's so many good players. And I think with this new hire of Jeff Ferris, then George Quarles having the connections he does, I think recruiting is going to either stay at the level it has, maybe even increase from what it has. So we'll see. I'm super excited about the guy. Little news, he graduated from Catholic High School in Knoxville. His wife actually graduated with my brother at the high school I went to. So
there's no way.
Yeah, I swear.
Small
he texted
world.
me. Yeah, he texted me like the day he got hired and was like, yeah, I went to school with his wife like throughout from kindergarten to 12th grade. So that was cool to see that. But
so you're going to be at Thanksgiving dinner this upcoming.
I mean, no.
You're not an in-law. You're not an in-law.
No. Trust me on that one. But let's move on to Austin Peay women's basketball. We have about 6 to 8 minutes to talk about that. The Lady Govs find themselves on a 3-game losing streak, dropping to Lipscomb 61-51. The Lady Govs now find themselves 9-10 overall and 2-3 in the conference. I want to stop there first and foremost because it's not looking the way that we all thought it was to start the season. And I know we talked about that a little bit, but kind of go off that a little bit.
No, I mean, Dillon, listen, Dillon's our basketball guy. So
Absolutely.
He's the guy that keeps us in the know.
I don't know why they be entrusting me with so much information.
It's because all the information you spout out. And it's like we're sitting there
it's
just
good, too. It's good information.
And we're looking dumbfounded, and he's just, like, spitting off facts.
I told you, I'm locked in, man.
But at least from my perspective, I expected the season to be going a lot differently. I thought we were going to be in the top 2 or 3 teams to compete in the A-Sun. I thought we were going to be a lot better than this. Now, I mean, we were 9-6 before this 3-game skid, so it's not terrible, but again, kind of not what we were expecting. And then now we're just on a 3-game skid. You mentioned we're not getting blown out.
No, we're not.
But I mean, I thought we were going to be doing a lot better.
Read off what the games that we lost. I know we did that a little bit before.
So we got 2 losses by 6 from Butler, Cleveland State, 2 10-point losses, Lipscomb and SF Austin. Everything else is 1 to 4 points. You got Mercer, Central Arkansas, North Alabama.
All close games.
All close games. So in the game of basketball, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 7 games, 10 points or less.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball is a game of runs, right?
Absolutely.
So that just means you can't either sustain a run or you can't get one to go at all at some point again. You constantly trading buckets or trading turnovers or something like that. We 1-5 on the road.
I mean, and then looking at the box score, I mean, Shamari Hale, first of all, she's always at the top. She's always doing her thing. She had a double-double. Lanaya Foster had a double-double as well, which is huge. But it seems like it's the same box score every time. Shamari has 15-plus points. You have maybe one other Lady Gov step up with 10 points, and then everyone else is like 3, 5, 6. It's I just feel like all of our totals too. I mean, let's take a look at some of these totals. I just feel like we're just not generating hardly any offense on a consistent basis.
Right, and I watched the last game against who did they play? Was it Lipscomb?
Right.
Okay. I couldn't remember if I watched the Lipscomb game or Central Arkansas, but anyways, the Lipscomb game, when I watched them on offense, they just didn't look like they had that
urgency.
Yeah, there's no urgency at all. I mean, you got a 30-second shot clock with and you're bringing the ball up the court, and first of all, they bring it up so slow.
Yeah.
They almost walk
That's
it
10
up the
seconds
court.
right there.
Yeah, exactly. So you're looking at 22 seconds to get a shot off, and then on top of that, there's no urgency within the offense to get a shot quick. And it's on the defensive end, I think they're all right. I mean, they held Lipscomb to 61 points. but when you're scoring in the 50s, you're not going to win a lot of basketball games regardless of who you play.
So they have scored outside of 60 twice, and they lost both. They scored 75 against Mercer, lost by 3. They lost by Murray State 93 to 85. So they scored 85 and 75. Everything else is in the 60s, 50s, and 40s.
Which that's good. That's okay if you can play defense at a very, very elite level.
But it's got to be super elite,
right? And we're
2000 Ravens elite.
Yeah,
and we're just not doing that right now.
We're playing good defense.
Yeah. And when you hold a team, Lipscomb's 61 points. You know what I'm saying? Like you're in a lot of these basketball games. You're obviously playing pretty solid defense, but not good enough. Yeah, not
17.
Good enough
I see 17 turnovers right here.
Yeah, you can't
amongst the whole team. That's what they average on a regular basis. So you're coughing up the ball 17 times. Let's play statistics here. At least 8 of them are probably almost half going to be live ball turnovers. So you guarantee points in transition too. So 8, 2 to 3, 16 to 24 points off live ball turnovers. That's the game right there.
And if you're going to play a super slow style of play,
you can't
turn the ball over. And I hate to keep bringing it back to football, but that's when the Titans were really, really good, right? Well, I hate to bring it back to football, but they were slow paced. They're going to run the ball,
right?
Kill the clock. But the death of that style of offense is turnovers.
Right.
And it's the same thing with basketball. If you're high pace and you're running up and down the court,
turnovers is fine.
You can afford some double digit turnover games. But if you're going to be slow pace, walk the ball up the court, and you're 10 plus turnovers a game, then that's going to kill you every night.
Yeah.
That means on the defensive side, you got to work just as hard to get those back.
3 times harder.
You got to get those back and then try to get on top of the turnover battle.
Yeah. Next game is at home versus Stetson on the 25th. That is Thursday. So anybody and everybody listening, show up and support. These girls deserve y'all's support out there. And I don't think I'm going to be able to go due to me going back home for the weekend. But for any of you guys that want something to do on a Thursday night, show up to F&M Bank. That's one of the nicest arenas probably in the ASUN. It's new. Just go. Even if you don't want to watch the basketball, just go and support these girls and what they do, because they work just as hard as any other sports team on campus, and they deserve the support. So. On the other side, the men's basketball team, they're kind of having a different little trend over the past couple weeks. They're 10-10 on the year, being 3-2 in the ASUN. They're on a 2-game win streak, coming off a 94-71 win to Central Arkansas, where, frankly, I went to that game. They could not miss a shot. Any shot that they looked at, step back 3, in the paint, turnaround, whatever, they literally made, and it was awesome. It was awesome to see.
Well, Cy Witt played outside of his mind.
Yeah, that was awesome.
He's a guy that he's a senior. He's an older guy, and he comes off the bench, which probably hurts his ego a little bit.
Yeah,
but I mean, he was playing outside of his mind. Came off the bench with 27 points and led the team.
That's work.
Led the whole team.
He came off the bench with, I think 14, 15 minutes left in that first half. So it's almost like he played the entire – like he was a 6-man, but it's almost like he played the entire game. But still, 27 points, that's a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot.
For a guy
in 40 minutes.
Yeah.
But we inconsistent. That's just what it is.
It's a lot of this.
We a shot making team, so when you a shot making team, if you can't make a shot, you're gonna be inconsistent. We play decent defense just like the girls do. The men's play decent defense, but when you're shooting a bunch of jumpers and floaters and you ain't getting easy backdoor layups, because I think the scheme is pretty decent. I don't think the scheme is bad. I just think we small and we rely on shooting the ball a lot.
Yeah, I think the we're not to the midpoint in the season yet, but I'm just going to say it. I think the mid-season additions of Isaac Haney, that small guard, number 3, he can play first and foremost. Transferred from Missouri State and then Northwestern State, so he's followed Coach Gibson around a lot. Coach Gibson loves him, by the way, loves his effort on the court. And then the guy from Memphis, he's 6'10". What's his name?
Daniels, I think it's
Daniels.
Javar Daniels, something like that.
Something like that. But, those midseason transfers, it's kind of given us almost a step in the right direction.
Daniel, that's what it is, Javar Daniel.
Because before this, we were not looking like we were going to win much more than 15 basketball games. And right now, we're sitting 500, and we're above 500 in the ASUN, which sits us at 5 or 6, right?
Yeah, we're middle of the pack, and it's kind of like you said. It's like First of all, his name is Javar Daniels. He played
Daniels,
1 minute. He started, but he played only like 1 minute.
Yeah.
It was weird.
When Say's doing what he's doing, like, how do you take him out at that point?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, that's crazy.
But
I ain't got no training camp, no real practices on it.
And I think you hit it right on the money. It's we're here and then we're here.
Yeah.
And then we're here and then we're here. And it's like,
and we may stop, catch some equilibrium for a little bit, then we back up or down.
But that's the first year though, and that's kind of what you expect. Now, granted, the here's are really, really good.
Yeah.
It's like you see the here's and you're like, oh boy, this team can be really good. And then you see the here's and you're like,
what are we doing?
Hey, first year coach. But listen. First of all, did you guys see the video on overtime?
I was just about to bring that up.
E-Man.
Oh man,
he got up.
That makes me that makes me. First of all, how can you not be fired up?
Yeah,
watching
that's
that.
Awesome.
And that makes me believe that okay, the record may not get there yet, but we got ourselves a guy that can motivate some young men, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah,
that's the most important thing. Listen, you can be a genius on the board.
Right.
But if those guys don't want to run through a brick wall for you, then
it won't matter.
It won't matter.
Especially in the crunch time.
Exactly.
And I think the thing about this guy that's different than our previous coach is that, he wants to be here.
Yeah.
You know,
no doubt.
Our previous coach, he'd rather almost be in Durham, North Carolina than in Clarksville, Tennessee.
After
okay?
that fight, he definitely wanted to.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like this team actually looks, they look disciplined. It looks like every single player, it doesn't matter if they're in the starting five, doesn't matter if they don't play 1 minute in the game. They look like they want to be there. They're engaged in the game. And, he's 90% of the game, he's standing up and he's coaching those guys.
No,
that's not something we've seen over the past 3 years.
And that's the complete opposite. Because, you look down the road about an hour in Jerry Stackhouse, and all he does is sit on his little chair and just watch his players. And he may say a couple things to him when they go to the bench. But, no, Coach Gibson is literally he's about to get in trouble if he keeps almost wanting to go on the court and play.
He's the sixth man.
Yeah, he's almost like
he's the sixth man.
It's almost like I'll just do it myself, and it's like, dude, you're in a suit. You can't be doing it. But you want a guy like that.
Right.
You want a guy that's fired up and wants to be here. And like you said, I don't want to jinx it, but we may have a guy that he's like, hey, this is home.
Yeah,
I think this, if it was anyone else, no. But I'm saying, I think with him being an alumni, with him this being where he played his college ball, I think he's looking at it like, hey, if I can make this work.
Let's see next year I think we'll exceed expectations next year. So after that second year, we'll see how much traction he has. Because you're not going to turn down a D1 offer. I don't care how much you love your home. I don't care how much.
It depends on which D1 it is.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right.
But like you said, and we talked about this football a minute ago, that's the reality of what we are. We are a stepping stone for 99% of the people, but he might be that 1%.
Yeah, we might have our one.
Yeah.
He might be that one.
It's one of those things, when you're thinking about it, it's like, he's already been to Missouri State, Division I, same level as us. He's been to Northwestern State, which in my opinion is probably a step below where we are as an athletic department. So, he's bounced around from Division I to Division I, which makes me almost more inclined to think on the same lines as you, Kristian, where it's like, he's been Division I, he hasn't really stepped up into the Power 5, but, he played here. He was a great player here, first and foremost, and he coaches these guys like he wants to be here and like he wants to pour into the community. He wants to put a basketball team out there where he wants to fill up F&M Bank.
No doubt.
And I think in the next, year, because we forget, too, he got hired at a point in time where he couldn't get a full recruiting class in.
Yeah,
these guys are people that he either brought from Northwestern State or he picked up, because these guys didn't have a place to play. Like this Javar Daniels guy, we picked him up mid-season. Like he didn't have a place to play.
Yeah, I think he's from prep school too.
Okay. Yeah.
So
dude. So I really like where we're looking, and at the halfway point in the season, we have an opportunity to we've placed ourselves in an opportunity to make a run. Ultimately, if we can keep our trajectory going in the right direction. But real quick before we move on, I want to do a social media read. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. We post, try to at least daily, post something. That's at APSU Crunchtime on both Instagram and Twitter, at APSU Crunchtime on both Instagram and Twitter. So go follow us there. Like I said, we post at least, once or twice a day.
I see it.
You've been killing it on
I've been trying.
You've been working.
I've been trying. So we'll see about that. But Baseball season is right around the corner. I'm fired up about this.
Same.
February 16th is our home opener against Western Illinois. I have no idea what Western Illinois has in a baseball program.
I didn't know they had a baseball program.
Right. But before we talk a little bit about that, I got my hands on a projected starting lineup for us.
We got insider. Does Sideline APSU have this? I don't think so.
I don't know. I don't know if Sidelines APSU has
They
it.
can't touch Reece.
No, he actually does a pretty good job. I like looking at his stuff. But starting pitcher is going to be Luke Rowland. He's a JUCO guy. He's a junior. His ERA last year at the JUCO was a 2.49 ERA.
That
so
ain't bad.
that's what I mean. That's pretty
Pretty
good.
good, yeah.
I mean, that's really good.
If
So
that number holds, that's probably your ace.
right, exactly. And so they've got him projected at 1. Jacob Weaver is going to be the Saturday starter, and then Lyle Miller Green Sunday starter. So, and then Lyle Miller Green will also start in the DH. We got Nathan Barksdale at right field, Clayton Gray, the junior, starting in center field, Harrison Brown in left, Abram Voltic, which is a grad transfer from, I think, oh gosh, I looked at this the other day. I don't want to say anything wrong, but John Gazdar, he started last year at the short. He'll be there again. Jaden Brown, the senior transfer, starting at second base. Justin Olson, the senior, starting at first base. And the Texas Tech transfer, Trevor Conley, the junior, behind the plate. And then coming out of the bullpen, you know, for what this is worth, Campbell Holt, and then David Pollard, Caden Washington, and then Tyler Hampew. So we've had a lot of transfers, whether it be from Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Oklahoma State. Like, we've got some guys that can play. So hopefully we can, we can keep the trajectory that we had last year.
Yeah, I mean, the guy I'm looking at is Clayton Gray. I
Yeah.
mean, you know, he was the definition of consistent.
Absolutely.
And that's you get in baseball. That's all.
Yeah, that's all you can ask for.
That's all you can ask for. I mean, you take a look at his stats. I'm looking at him right now. Threes across the board average, 3.33 average.
Yeah.
Played 58 games. Started every one he played in. He had 33 RBIs, 5 home runs. I mean, that's if you get.
He's a good soldier.
If you get 2 guys, if you get 3 guys in your lineup to be in that ballpark, and then just everyone else just find a way to get on base somehow, some way, and then you're pitching in the 3 ERAs, 3 to 4 range.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, who's to say this team can't make a run?
Yeah, absolutely. And in a conference too, where they've got some good baseball teams, but it's not like there's a team that is overpowering, because baseball is such a weird sport where, like, Coastal Carolina won the 2015 College World Series, the entire thing. So, like, a team like that, and, we saw Southern Miss, they fell to Tennessee in the Supers last year, but, like, Southern Miss was a good enough team to be in Omaha. So these type of teams that are at the mid-major level, they can easily play at that high level if you get the right guys with the right pitching staff. It's obviously too early to tell, but, I mean, the trajectory is looking up for Austin Peay.
Well, the one thing that, before we get out of here, that I didn't realize about baseball is not everyone's on full scholarship.
Yeah.
Like, even, like, the big boys like Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
not all their players are on, like, full scholarship, or even, like, partial. Like, a lot of them are walk-ons or partial scholarships, and so you're thinking, okay, it's kind of similar to the basketball scenario where you don't have to fill 100 roster spots. The odds of you getting a good team are just better.
Yeah, give me about 20 guys who can play. That's all that matter.
Give me 20 dudes. And, I mean, with the baseball, you see with basketball, too, you see these small schools make a run in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's all you need.
You get the right group of guys here at Austin Peay. Who's to say you can't make a run?
Absolutely. And so I think this year is going to be fun. So go out and support them. Like I said, February 16th is going to be the home opener against Western Illinois. So hopefully, we can get off to a good start. If we sweep Western Illinois 4-0 to start the year, I think we'll be making some buzz. So we already went over expectations. I expect this team to be right up there in the A-Sun competing for a conference championship. I know Florida Gulf Coast has a good team. Liberty did have a good team. They moved to Conference USA, so that's a team that we won't have to worry about. They were making they were making regionals.
They was giving us their work.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Problems.
They were giving everybody problems. So, but guys, great show. I want to thank a few people before we get out of here. Doc V for letting us use the studio. Steve Sawyer and David Ellison for being here. GA's Trey Whiteow, Isabella Christensen, and Paige Hearn. And obviously, I want to thank you guys. They're the ones that make this show run. We're just the ones that talk about sports. So I want to thank everybody involved. But for now, that's Crunch Time.